Hello, everybody. This is David Swatsky from Orient. Thank you for coming to our webinar, Modernization to Marketplace and Beyond, with Orient and our partner, Get Insured. In this webinar, we bring you the best practices and key stages of product modernization. We'll learn how portals providing information and products addressing customer requirements and can be transformed into intelligent platform as a service marketplace, enabling direct and easy interaction between end customers and third-party providers. Our presenters today, we're happy to have Bhavesh Ved, our Senior Vice President of Delivery at Orient. Orient, we are a Silicon Valley headquartered company focused on product engineering, software development, and technology consulting services for technology product companies and innovative enterprise. I'm lucky enough to sit here next to Sanjeev Johapur, Vice President of Engineering for Get Insured. Get Insured is a creative entrepreneurs building and innovative businesses that delight our customers. At the same time, we know that our work is about more than just numbers. So again, we'll start the webinar now, and I'll hand it over to Bhavesh. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for the introduction. This is Bhavesh here. Over the next 45 minutes, what we are going to do, Sanjeev and me, are going to really run through some of the best practices of modernization. The focus will be around the platforms because those are the ones which are really changing the landscape in today's world. We'll also share our experience of running through one of the exchange that has been engineered over last 4 to 5 years in a partnership with Get Insured. So we'll run through that real life case study over the next 45 minutes. Let me start by sharing the industry landscape that we have seen that is changing over the last few years. And there are very clear trends that we are observing in our day-to-day life. There are 5 major impact areas that we have observed. Number one is many of our customers, they are moving from on-premises to cloud. The cloudification journey is definitely one of the paramount area that most of our customers, they are focusing on. The second is monolithic applications which have been built over the period of time. They are getting re-architected to microservices and through the API. Because MarketPlace actually leverages a lot about the API, and that's the change that we are observing in last few years. The third element of the change that we are observing is the customer experience. We have seen that there are a lot more users who are using multiple type of devices, and that's where they want to have a very seamless experience. So the implementation of an omni-channel based user experience is what many of our customers are expecting, and we have been helping them, I would say, to move towards omni-channel implementation. The fourth element of a change that we are observing is a classic business reporting that used to be the norm earlier. That is getting changed, I would say, to big data analytics, AI, machine learning. AI, machine learning has become part of a mainstream now, and we are seeing quite a few real-life business problems that are getting solved using AI and machine learning. And the fifth area of the trend that we are observing is the RFID sensors that are getting moved, I would say, to industrial IoT, where we are collecting the data right at the edge, and we are doing the real-time analytics on top of it. Now, with this kind of a change that we are observing in the industry, one of the factors that has really emerged is the platform economy. And that is what we are going to have a deep dive in this session. Few of the analysts have given their point of view, indicating that the shift that is there in the industry is very, very visible. About 64% of the enterprise, they are adopting machine learning as part of the mainstream. 60% enterprises, they already have adopted or are moving towards cloud. That is again like an industry benchmark that is out there. And about 85% of the industrial expertise are planning to implement the IoT solution. So see, these are some of the trends that are very clearly in the market today, and that is leading to a platform economy. What I want to really go through is to clearly explain the difference between a platform and the product. The platforms actually are the enablers for offering multiple products for distinct business use cases using a common framework components to service the value chain. Now we have observed that only products, they actually support a very limited, a fixed set of business use cases. Whereas in today's world of platforms, the customers as well as the enterprises, they're expecting multiple business models that they want to quickly implement. And that's why they want to leverage the core engine of the platform, on top of which we can build a lot of different products catering to a specific set of use cases or catering to a specific set of community users. So some of the elements of the platform are that they are built as an ecosystem for multiple stakeholders in a marketplace. One of the other characteristics that we have seen is using the common framework, the businesses, they want to really offer a different kind of a product in the market. That's why they want to really reuse the common framework components which are built as part of the platform. As we have discussed in the earlier slide also, the customer experience is again a clear differentiator in today's world. Each product will be targeted at a specific set of community users, and each community users will have a specific set of preferences, and that we have seen whenever we are using any of the platform services or solution. Integration is again a very important element of this entire platform. So what we have observed is that there is a clear distinction between the product and the platform, and we have seen that multiple products are getting built on top of the platform. Some of the business drivers that are leading to a platform-based implementation or solution are the connected economy. As we all know that most of the users, they are now connected digitally and they use multiple set of devices, and they want to really have a completely seamless experience while moving from one device to another device. So when we really talk about the platform, one clear example would be the Amazon platform. So whenever a consumer is doing online shopping on the Amazon, each and every individual gets a very personalized kind of a feel, because that's how the platforms are really built, to really offer a very customized kind of an offering to each of the platform users. And because platform allows us to really roll out multiple products, it helps us to really increase the market share of the customers who are offering this kind of a solution. Some of the technical drivers which are very critical when we talk about the platform are the scalability, reliability, security, performance, extensibility. Now platform, because it's a common framework on top of which we are building multiple products, it needs to be extensible. It needs to ensure that it's scalable as the different community, they start using the different products. So these are critical elements that needs to be considered when we are architecting or design any kind of a platform. Let me move to a conceptual view of a platform, how we are looking at a platform. Now, if you look at the platform from a conceptual perspective, at the top you will see that there is a platform products portfolio whereby we are offering different products using the common platform engine. All these products are being used by different communities. So that's what you can see as part of the conceptual view. And each of the community members of the platform, they use different devices depending on their preferred choice. Some of them may be using the web portal, some of them may be using the mobile device, some of them may be using the tablet. So platform is expected to really work seamlessly across all these devices. If you look at like the internals of the platform engine, again you will see that there are various elements which are absolutely critical. So we can start with the customer experience, and the element of the customer experience could be that a platform needs to have a ready-to-use either a widget library or a sort of a form builder which will allow us to quickly build a very customized solution or the user experience for each of the targeted customers. If you look at some of the examples that on which like Orient has been working, so one of the platform that like where we have worked on is the risk assessment platform, where the platform actually like computes the risk score for different category of vendors and different category of customers. And when we are looking at the risk assessment, very important thing is the CXO should get a full view of the risk that is there in the organization. And that's where the data visualization services play a very important role over there, where we can really come up with a right level of either the CAN reports or the different kind of a dashboards which CXOs can see it in a real time and take an informed decision. When we are trying to build a platform in a different domain, so assuming that like we are trying to build a platform in a supply chain space, which is more like supply chain analytics space. Now, in this platform, we need to collect the data from various different sources which will be there in the entire supply chain. Could be on the manufacturing location, could be at a distributor end, could be at the point of sales end. And all this data will be in a different format which needs to be collated, and on top of which the analytics needs to be built for the real-time dashboard that like we want to share it with the community users. Now, whenever we have this kind of a platform requirement, that's where the API-related solution makes a big difference, and that is included as part of the integration service, where through APIs we are able to connect to various different data sources. We are able to have third party talk to the platform very clearly, and some set of people can build the application on top of the APIs, using the APIs. So this is another example of a platform where we can leverage the core components or the building blocks of the platform engine. Another important element of the platform is to really manage the different types of data formats. As we all know that different applications and different requirements, they have a format which could be very varied. At times we have to use some standard industry standard data formats, and at times like we need to use the very customized formats of the data. Now, to process all this data, we require a data platform which can seamlessly work, I would say, with various data sources. Could be a SQL database, could be a NoSQL database, could be a persistence that we are doing it in the cloud. So this kind of a building block data platform is again very critical in the platform journey. One core element that we have observed in all the platforms that have been built by Orient has been the infrastructure services. These are the core components of the platform. And some of the examples of infrastructure services are, most of the platform requires a business rule engine, which will allow users to really define the business rule very effectively and customize to a domain in which the platform will be used. Another example of the infrastructure service could be the workflow engine, could be the provisioning side of it, could be the monitoring services. These are basic elements of the infrastructure services which are core of the platform engine. Now, when we are talking about the platform, which will have so many different kind of users, also the application could be very varied depending on the products that we are rolling it out. Security cannot be compromised at any stage, and security needs to be implemented at all the building blocks of the platform, and that's where we believe that security will span across all the elements of the platform. Similarly, platforms are designed and architected to ensure that we roll out multiple offerings to the consumers as quickly as possible. And that's where the product configurator plays a very important role, which allows businesses to really do plug and play, pick and choose the components, bundle it as an offering to the market. And that's where the product configurator plays a very critical role. Now, depending on the domain in which the platform is getting built, the regulatory compliance is another factor that is critical to the architecting and design of a platform engine. Now, different industry has a requirement for the compliance. So if we are building a platform which is into the payments card, then we need to make sure that the platform is compliant to PCI DSS requirement. If we are building something in the healthcare space, we need to make sure that the HIPAA compliant is there. If we are building something into the mortgage space, then the ARLA and the HMDA compliance are very, very critical to it. So compliance again becomes a very critical component of this entire platform. One other block which is critical is the containerization. We have observed that as we are building the platform in today's world, especially using the agile technology, we need to make sure that our entire process of the deployment is automated. And that's where the containerization becomes a critical element of the entire platform engine. To summarize the platform, we feel that platform engineering and architecting is much more complex than just the simple product. And that's the differentiator that we wanted to highlight in this particular slide. We'll now move to a real case study where we actually have used the concept of this platform for our partner Get Insured. So Sanjeev is representing Get Insured. So we'll just talk about what are things that we have done as part of this case study. So when we started the journey for the Get Insured platform, there were certain elements that were given to us as part of the vision statement. We wanted to really build a health insurance exchange platform which basically should cater to multi-million users. That was one of their predominant requirement, because this platform actually is going to be more consumer-facing kind of a platform. So that's why one of the important requirement was it should cater to multi-million users. The other important consideration that was given to us was this platform should be able to offer multiple revenue models in the market. Now, the different revenue models depends on the business type. Could be on the license-based offering, or could be a subscription-based offering. But objective was to really come up with a platform that can offer the different revenue models. One critical aspect of the platform, as we all know, is we want to leverage for the multiple products. So here also there was a need that we need to be able to spin off multiple products depending on the business requirement of Get Insured. So this was again a very critical element that was shared with us as part of the vision statement. Of course, the platform needs to have a common framework and services, so that is the default requirement for any platform design or architecture. Customer experience, again, because there are different products and different set of users who will be using these products, each one needs to have a separate set of customer experience. So we wanted to really build in such a way that each one gets a rich user experience. Some other requirements that were specified were automation first. Wherever it's possible, we want to automate the things. We wanted to avoid anything which is manual or anything which is time consuming. So wherever it was possible, be it in the engineering space, be it in the business process space, we wanted to focus on the automation. Security and regulatory compliance were the obvious need of a platform. So with that consideration, we actually thought through the platform architecture in which there were multiple products that were conceptualized. So on one end, we could think of the state exchanges that were targeted for each state in North America. Others were the private exchanges which can be offered to the bigger enterprises, and a Medicare solution. So these were three different product offerings which Get Insured wanted to go into the market. In terms of compliance, they had specified a very clear requirement that it should be ACA compliant, Affordable Care Act compliant, HIPAA compliant, and ADA compliant. These were some of the needs that they had specified. In terms of the other expectations, they definitely wanted to have the web, tablet, and mobile as an omni-channel presence. The integration expectation was that they wanted to really have the API-centric integration. At the same time, the industry focuses more on the EDI standards, so they wanted to have the EDI implementation along with JSON and XML. On the data side of it, the specification that were given to us was to really have a combination of support to SQL database, NoSQL database, on the cloud. Also, the requirement was to really have the internationalization, because they wanted to have different set of users which wanted to have a localized flavor of the content. So that's why there was a need to really have that as part of a data platform. And the infrastructure services like rule engine, the workflow engine, notification, those were key elements of the infrastructure services. The security was again a critical factor. At high level, wanted to really have at least the SSO, LDAP, and multi-factor authentication as part of the platform. Now, with this kind of a vision that was shared with us, both Get Insured and Orient team, we actually worked together to conceptualize the entire architecture and design for this particular platform, where Get Insured team actually took a lead in terms of the architecting, and the engineering team was from the India side of it, from Orient. Now, with this kind of a vision that was shared with us, we wanted to get into the journey of the architecting as well as the modernization part of it. So I'll now hand it off to Sanjeev to really take this journey forward, how we have managed to really work towards this journey of modernization.
Thanks, Bhavesh. Thanks, David. So I'm Sanjeev, and over the next few slides, what I'll talk about is how Get Insured evolved from an initial product to what is now industry for health exchanges. So again, what is a health exchange to begin with? A health exchange is a healthcare marketplace where consumers can buy health insurance for themselves, for their families, So what this shows you is a logical view, a functional view of what a health exchange is. On the left-hand side, you see who we serve. We serve consumers, individuals, families. We serve small businesses, both employers and employees. And then we serve the agents, brokers, counselors, agencies, enrollment counselors. These are various organizations or individuals who help people buy the health insurance. On the right-hand side, you see the various entities and organizations that we interface with. As a healthcare exchange, we have to interface with the insurance companies. We have to get their plans. We have to also send them enrollments once somebody enrolls. We have to let the insurance company know that they have enrolled. We take payments, so we have to integrate with the financial institutions. When somebody says, I want insurance, we have to validate that the person indeed is who they say he is. So we have to integrate with institutions like the IRS, the credit card institutions, to verify the identity of the person and other details, other personal details provided as part of getting health insurance. And then finally, we integrate with a lot of state institutions. Right? There is a handoff between the state, the Medicaid system, and the health insurance system. So that is a significant piece of integration with that. And then in the middle, what you see is the various functional components. So I'll not go into all the details of each and every functional component, but suffice to say that it's a fairly complex product. It's got a lot of user interfaces where fairly complex interface to take all the details related to health insurance, and then at the back end interface with various issuers to complete the health insurance flow. So that's kind of a high-level view of what the Get Insured platform is. And so we started off by building, the big date for us was October 1st, 2013. That was when, for those of you who know about the ACA, ACA is also called as Obamacare. So ACA got rolled out, and 2013 was the first year in which Americans were able to enroll into ACA, into the Obamacare program. And October 1st, 2013 was the first date in which users could see it. So that was our big date for us. That's when we wanted, we had to go live. There was really no way to slip it. There was no way to really extend the date. And so the first generation platform was all about getting things done, getting that to work. So we built out one state exchange. It so happens that it was the largest state exchange in the country. We built out California, and we serviced the residents of California, the agents who helped people get insured, and the issuers. The issuers are the insurance company. We built out some subset of critical business services. We built out enough things that would ensure that people are able to buy insurance. It was a monolithic system. We had to integrate with the insurance companies. That was kind of mandated through EDI. And we used a commercial database, a lot of commercial software components to build out. And the one thing we did was we didn't use on-prem. Again, the state of the industry at that time was most of other companies who had built out, who were building exchanges for other states, were building it on-prem. We used a managed private cloud to build our exchange out. And then very early on, we said that we want to make it reusable, because our goal really was that we are not building it for one state. We would eventually roll it out for multiple states. And so we want to build out reusable components. So that was our first exchange back in 2013. And over the next few slides, I'll show you how this evolved over time. And again, although we talk about first gen, second gen, third gen, it's not really like one fixed marker in time when suddenly things moved, right? It's really a continuum where the software, the product, the platform evolved, and we kind of did a lot of experiments. Some did well, some did not, but really what you see here in the next few slides is what we ended up with. Right, so the next set of improvements, the journey towards the product, towards the platform came in the roughly 2015, 2016 timeframe. By then we had launched multiple state exchanges, we had multiple states. We also used the same basic software to launch our own private exchange. So private exchange is a similar kind of concept, but instead of giving it to states, it enabled commercial entities like large brokers to enroll their customers into healthcare. And then we serviced a bunch of different entities such as counselors, we added counselors, we added agents, and then we built out a lot of the business services that we talked about in the earlier slide. Now, the first generation was a monolith. We kind of split the monolith and we added cleaner APIs between different modules, and we built kind of a layered architecture. And then the big thing we did was we started moving our infrastructure from commercial software into open source software. And there's a good reason for that. It's not just about saving costs because open source is free. We still wanted to have support for open source software. So for example, we partnered with other companies that provided support for the database and for other open source components. But for us, it was all about agility. It was all about how can we automate our deployments, how can we automate our testing. And what we found out that it was much easier for us to do that using open source components without the large kind of time required to manage licenses and so on and so forth. So for us, the bigger win was in terms of automation, the amount of time we saved, and the flexibility in using the open source components. So that was a big jump forward as we evolved our platform. So what I want to do now is kind of do a deep dive into one specific aspect of this, right? How did we move from commercial database to open source database? So what we realized was the software was very easy, because we were using Hibernate. So a lot of work was done under the covers by the Hibernate ORM itself. There were some native queries that we had, which we had to migrate from the commercial database to the open source. So the software was the easy part. The larger issue was how do you manage data? We were live for 2 years by then, and we had lots and lots of data sitting in the production database, which had to be migrated. And again, it's not just one kind of data, right? So we have enrollments in various stages of progress. So you have to make sure that somebody who has just started the first page, for example, and saved their data will be able to continue once that particular family is moved into the open source database. So the migration and how do we handle the testing of the migration was indeed the larger problem. So what do you do for it, right? We built a bunch of tools apart from our software to assist in the migration. And these tools, we had a lot of assertions, making sure that the data when it is migrated is consistent and we haven't lost anything, and so on and so forth. And then we retooled our entire software development process so that every time somebody made a change and we tested it, we redid migration of our reference database and then applied the change and then verified that everything worked well. So that was really helped us a lot in terms of our testing. And then we also thought through what will happen on day one after we move to the open source database. So we built a bunch of monitoring tools. We retooled the operational processes to, first of all, monitor and then make sure everything is working well, and secondly, to address any issues very quickly. So net of all that was, by that time we had 4 exchanges live. So we were able to roll out the open source DB in all the 4 exchanges within a space of 2 months. So we staggered the production rollout over a period of 2 months. We left basically 2-week gap after each exchange just to make sure that if there's any issues coming out, we had the necessary manpower to deal with it. So over a space of 2 months, we rolled out 4 exchanges, and we had basically 0 bugs. So that was a huge win for us, and it was a great accomplishment that the whole team should be proud of, both with GI and Orient. So that was the second generation platform. Then we moved ahead, and then we continued evolving the platform, and then we added new products to the platform. We added Medicare, and then we also found out that our customers, it was not just that they wanted one large exchange. Some of our customers wanted parts of an exchange, so they had some software that they either had bought or developed in-house, and they wanted some parts from us. And from our point of view, it was a good way to enter a new customer so that you start off small and then you can grow from there. So we build what we call as modular exchanges so that we could roll things out in an incremental fashion. And then we started on the technology side, we started building out microservices and kind of experimented with that a little bit. It turned out that some of the modules, it was really good to use microservices for that. Some others didn't make too much sense. So we rolled out microservices. And then on the infrastructure side, what we did is we made things much more automated. So instead of using an externally managed private cloud, it was all self-managed, and we increased automation there because we were able to manage ourselves. We were able to do much more automation than what the third party was able to do for us. And then finally, we added multitenancy. And that really was our big win, especially for our private exchange, when we were able to support a large number of customers with their own customizations on a single platform. So that was the third generation platform. And then moving forward to the fourth generation, which is where we are now, the focus changed a bit. As you know, right now, in the last year, 2 years or so, there has been an explosion in how customers consume their data and their applications. There's been with the smartphones and with the chatbots, there is many more ways of interacting with customers. So we want to leverage that, and that's really what our next set of focus is, in how do we enhance the consumer experience, the customer experience with modern tools, modern technologies. So we rolled out some chatbots. The analytics and the reporting, we always had a good platform for analytics and reporting. We completely modernized it in the last year and a half or so, and now it is all self-service. It's much richer. Customers are able to do much more with it themselves than they were able to do earlier. And then we are moving on the infrastructure side. We are moving towards making things much more elastic, and whatever learnings we had from automating our software processes, we apply the same learnings to operations. So even the operations team now uses basically the same tools that we had for our dev and QA and production to help in their day-to-day work. And that has resulted in a significant improvement in the customer experience, as well as the efficiency of the call centers that our customers manage. And again, like I said, this is all not like one milestone or one post. It's really more of a journey along the way. So here are some concrete results that we were able to observe as a result of this journey. Now, starting with one, we now have 8 exchanges in various states. Our renewals, so that's the one thing that we track every year. How many people were automatically able to renew? And that's more than 99%. And that's important because the more people can renew automatically, the less effort it is for our customers, which is the states, to help them renew. So that's important. The call center efficiency, our customers run the call centers to help their customers, to help the consumers. So our call center efficiency has increased 58%, while the implementation cost has gone down by roughly the same amount, a little bit more, 60%. So that's a huge win, both for us as well as for our customers. We have now, every year, we enroll more than 2 million, somewhere between 2 and 3 million users on a platform across all of our states. And then the deployment time, so that's the funny thing, right? So a lot of our other companies who do this kind of exchanges, they measure deployment time in days, downtime in days. We always used to measure deployment time in hours, and now it is down to minutes. So that's been a huge win from an availability point of view. So net of all that is who is Get Insured, right? So Get Insured, we are the leaders in the health insurance space. As you can see from the numbers here, lots and lots of health insurance plans. We have tens of thousands of insurance plans. We serve for the entire country. We operate in all 50 states, and we every year we process millions of enrollments. The number of enrollments processed it varies a lot because some of there is open enrollment period when everybody can enroll, and there are other periods when unless you have a life-change event, you cannot enroll. So in the open enrollment period, we have peaks, significant peaks compared to other parts of the year, we collect a lot in premium. So that's a little bit about us and a little bit about how we evolved from our single product back in 2013 to where we are now, the leader in this space, and moving on to much more kind of intelligent exchange. So with that, I'll turn it over to Bhavesh for subsequent slides.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Just to give a brief about Orient. Orient is a Silicon Valley headquartered company. Our focus has always been to provide technology and engineering services. One of our key offerings has been the product engineering services that we offer to the ISVs as well as to the enterprise customers. If you look at like some of the competencies and capabilities that we have built internally, they are around the digital transformation, be it in the IoT or be it in machine learning, analytics space, or the cloud, security compliance, or open source integration. We have been working with more than 100 clients over the last 25 plus years of our service. We are spread across 11 locations, about 3,000 plus employee organization, and we take pride in offering many of our cutting-edge services to our clients in various different verticals. Predominantly has been the high-tech and the financial services. We also offer our services in the healthcare, telecom, and automotive verticals. One of the things that I want to really highlight is the partnership success factors between Orient and Get Insured. We have been working for last many years in the entire journey. As Sanjeev has highlighted that like not all the decisions went as per the plan. There were decisions that like we need to relook at it and replan it, but there was very clear cultural element and the trust factor that was there between both the organizations that actually helped us in the entire journey and which resulted into the overall success. Few other elements that like are very critical from the partnership perspective are a shared vision. Both the sides actually like were determined to come up with an health insurance exchange platform that can turn out to be an industry leader. So that goal was very clear from both the sides. And from Orient side, through our technology and engineering capability, we were trying to offer the modernization maturity services, our technology expertise. There are quite a few new ideas and innovations that like we actually were deliberating, we were putting it on the table. At times it was meeting the expectation of the roadmap that Get Insured had. Then it was included as part of the product roadmap. At times like it was not matching the overall goals. So then we were just parking it for future releases. We have come up with our own set of accelerators as part of the journey of modernization. Some of the accelerators are working very effectively in the area of the QA automation, in the area of the compliance, especially the data masking side of it, in the area of CI/CD, where we have our own accelerator. Some of the work that we have done is also around the ready-to-use, the widget library, ready-to-use some of the charting solutions for the quick dashboard preparation for the insights. Some of the data science models, we have created our own library. So some of these things actually have helped us, I would say, in the entire journey of the modernization along with Get Insured. We have always believed that like if there are any opportunity for innovations, one can count on Orient to be engineered. And that's our tagline, innovations engineered. Some of the differentiator that we already spoke about, we have the proven expertise at all the stages. We believe in the technology and engineering capability. That's the area that we do a lot of investment and we try to be ahead of the curve in this area. We have ended up in many of the technology partnerships with some of the industry leaders. That helps us, I would say, to bring and come up with some innovative solutions along with our partners. One of the success element of working with Orient has been the co-ideation and rapid prototyping. Because of our technology focus, we are able to come up with a very quick solution, I would say, to some of the industry problems that customers are facing it. With that, I would request David to take it over.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Bhavesh. Just real quick, we have two questions. We're almost over time here. I do want to mention again that we have an ebook. Everybody will be getting an email with a download button that you can review the webinar, as well as an opportunity to look at our ebook, which is a comprehensive guide to product modernization. And that goes through a lot of different things of our platform journey, next-gen landscape, and our primary business drivers, and the step-by-step journey from product to platform. Now, real quick, two questions. The first one here is, what were the major learnings from this journey for Sanjeev?
So, like I was trying to say earlier also, right? So, the platform evolution comes in two different kind of axes. One axis is your business functions, and then the other axis is technology functions. And you have to kind of deal with both and honor both. Business will move its own speed. You can't say that I want to stop everything and I want to modernize my technology platform. That doesn't work at all. So you have to modernize the technology platform while at the same time moving the product along from a business point of view. So the key things really are having a large long-term vision of where you want the technology platform to go, and then mapping it onto the business vision of where the business wants the product to evolve. And then you may not always get everything in one shot. It's not even advisable to try that, but do things incrementally over a period of time, and then improve both the technology as well as the business side of things at the same time.
Great, thank you, Sanjeev. I have another question here, if you have time, is what role did Orient play in your modernization journey? Why did you partner with Orient? 2 or 3 reasons, Sanjeev.
Yeah, so Orient has been a partner for several years now. So Orient, first of all, from engineering point of view, about half the team is from Orient, and about half the team is from Get Insured. So we are definitely partners in that sense. So Orient was very integral to both our dev, QA, and operations, all aspects of the modernization. And they were involved pretty heavily in the design, and the development, in testing, and in rollout. So we didn't really, it was not really a bidding thing that we said on day one, here is where our, how we want everything to look like. It was not that. It was really more first year. It was a mad rush to get 2013 October 1st, California out and live. And then after that, our business is very seasonal, right? So November 1st, the open enrollment starts, roughly December or January based on state, it ends. And then, so we have to get everything lined up by October 1st. But then after the open enrollment ends, there's a period of time when there's a little bit of a slack. So that's when we start thinking about, okay, how do you want the product to evolve next? And that's when we kind of throw up different ideas and say, okay, the goal for the next 2 years is this, and that's what we start working towards. And then so Orient was involved in all of that.
And so you started with Orient prior to 2013.
Right. We started with Orient very early in the company, back in 2007-8 timeframe.
Okay, great. Well, that just about wraps it up, people. Thank you so much. Happy Mardi Gras for those of you that are into that. Everybody will get an email from us. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.